I was told by someone that these divisions you're seeing developing within the NRM, they're actually somebody's, working, and he would want things to be that way. And that is the chairman. I don't have to hide the name. That General Muhoozi, or rather General Museveni, the president, he doesn't want people to be united. He enjoys it when people are, bickering.
Of course, when you...
That's why even the cabinet, not once, not twice, we've seen ministers, bickering, and never chases any of them.
I think when
he keeps all of them.
When you read the principles of the Machiavellian, philosophy, there is that aspect of divide and rule. And what does it do? Divide and rule, first of all, increases your long stay possibly in leadership, or rather your grip in leadership, in power. And for anyone that has mastered the art of being in the center of a conflict of crisis, where I have Idrissa possibly as the one that is in charge of the NRM, then I have another candidate or rather someone who is also handling this. So in the middle is where the president derives his power from, that he has control of this group and he has control of this other group. And all of them are reporting to him. So this one comes with different information, this one comes with different information, but one thing moves him, that is the intelligence. He gets intelligence briefs of all the groups and their daily operations or their works. And he gets them every day from different people that you can't even know. But reports go to the president. This and this is happening, and is being orchestrated by this group. This and this is happening, and that is how he has managed to hold Ugandans and then to also have that long-staying power. But now back to MK and his statement. I still want us to have a look at this. To look at it in a broader way. That possibly PLU as an organization is not prepared because we're left with 1 year.
PLU is not prepared?
We're left with 1 year to elections.
They've been here for
and if
2 years now, right?
If PLU thought that they can rather form structures as quick as possible and then also rely on the structures of NRM, then they have been lying themselves. With a rift already showing and whatever fights that have been there, you're able to see that these are so divided. There are groups that can go with the father, but they don't want the son. They're there. And even when you go down to the communities and ask the people, people are rather able to tell you that we better remain with the old man. But we can't go with the son. That is how the people reason. Now, it is only the young youth, more of who are urbanized, that are looking at possibly MK as a solution to that. But the rest of the people really feel like it should be a change. If they're doing a presidential change, or if there should be another president, it should be a total overhaul. We need another brand new person from within, can even be within government, but should be a different, face, but not the same recycling. So that's what people think. And of course, you see, at times we have also taken, the moment to draft these letters and forward them to the president. It's not that we have never written briefs and forwarded them to the president. But I don't even think these things reach his desk. He should be able to either get lost within, because
why do you think they don't reach his desk?
No, because everyone, there's a lot of intrigue. People are self-centered. The NRM of today, majority of the people that are within the NRM look at themselves, but not.
But how did we get here, Tim? If you compare the NRM and the former, not the former, because they're still in existence, but the political parties, the UPC, that was in power, the DP, when you're talking to those people, there is a way they paint a picture that their parties were really strong and people are working for the political party rather than the individual. I mean, and that's why people are very pessimistic about the future of the NRM without President Museveni in the picture.
No, but of course, you see, even today, if you're to go ahead with the tweets, himself, he commented, the son of the president, commented and said that we, NRM, there will be no any other civilian president other than a soldier or a police officer or a policeman. Now, that shows you the kind of mindset that is within us as Ugandans, that there can be there can be no any other leader that is a civilian, but should rather be a soldier, because that is the indoctrination that has been, put into the system. That other than a soldier or a police.
Isn't that true about our country? When you look at the history of this country, you've realized that people who, stay longer in leadership, that is as presidents, they're those with a military background. However smart one may be, for as long as he doesn't have that military background. Look at the likes of Apollo Obote. Those who are close to him will tell you how intelligent the man was. But we talk about a president who suffered 2 coup d'etats. And here comes Idi Amin, man who didn't even make it to P7, I hear. Rules this country for 8 years. Now we get President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, with his military background. He's pushing us, taking us, very soon he's making 40 years. And he's not told that he's tired. He's continuing. So when they say that, that military background kind of favors someone to have a longer stay in power, that is for Uganda's case. I think that could be true.
No, you see, one is that you have to understand the type of person that we have as a president. And in that case, one is that he has been a person that served in literally 2 or 3 governments before he became a president. And in that capacity, he served as an intelligence officer, even with the government of Milton Obote.
Oh.
The President Museveni.
Was that an intelligence officer?
Yes, he was
part he was working in the president's office, but I'm not
president's
sure what
office,
he was
yes,
doing.
but he was also partly affiliated and connected to the State Bureau by then.
A fresh graduate from the university.
Fresh graduate from university, but he's already handling matters of intelligence and then classified information that was crossing hands between the president and then, other external forces and so on. And of course, you see, that nurturing alone shows you the level and the type of person that he is. And he's one person that studies. He reads a lot.
Reads a lot?
And he understands everything using psychology. I think also being a political scientist, he knows how to, to play the gimmicks of politics. One that has failed very many people. Dr. Kizza Besigye came and is failing to, outbeat him. And we're seeing,
well, he tells you that he beat him twice in an election. But,
beat him twice, but you see, beating someone twice is like, let me use an example of our neighbor, Raila Odinga. He came with Raila, Mwai Kibaki. He came with Jomo Kenyatta.
And also Raila tells you that he beat Kibaki in 2007. But Kibaki...
Yes, but you see, one thing that you're seeing with Ugandan politics is that he has mastered how the thing is done. And 2, the recycling on his beat possibly is what is giving him a challenge. And that is why you're seeing that we have the likes, possibly Minister of Constitutional Affairs, who's also the president of DP. And with that political, the political marriage, possibly also seeing that he's the same one who's at the front line of creating this, where we have the presidential and then parliamentary election, where the president can be either elected by parliament. Either they are trying to adopt and use the South African system, that you can't tell. But I don't think it is viable with what is happening. Me, I support the stand, and by support and stand that one, the President Museveni can as well serve his 7th term.
President Museveni.
Yes, because just like I told you, I foresee a political crisis, political leadership crisis, in case the president left. Because right now, everything is just messed up. There is no, in NRM right now, if anything, God forbid, if anything happened to the president, there's going to be a very serious political leadership crisis.
First, hold it right there. Let's first take a short break. When we come back, we are going to be looking at the future of Uganda under the stewardship of an 80-year-old. Don't go away. The dialogue continues shortly.
Discover delicacy at Cafe Atu, your all-in-one destination. Whether it's the perfect cup of coffee or a satisfying meal, we got you covered. Indulge your cravings with our mouth-watering pilau, savory katogo, crispy chips, and tender chicken. Explore our world of cocktails and fresh juices for a truly special treat. Planning an event? Choose Cafe Atu for top-notch outside catering services. Benefit from ample parking. Stay connected with Wi-Fi and catch your favorite matches on DSTV. Cafe Atu offers food deliveries in and around Kampala. Hosting a conference, our center accommodates up to 1,000 people. Need a boardroom for a party or corporate meeting? We've got just the spot for you. We offer a free venue for birthdays and baby showers, providing complimentary photography. For those aspiring to become professional baristas, our barista school awaits you. Visit us at Albany Center, Level 2 on Ginger Road. Cafe Atu, where every occasion becomes a memorable experience.
Uliyunganika kasetoloziryo wetaaga okutumbula ekitone ky'omukuyimba kano kikasiireko BTM TV akuletedde Raise Your Mic yimba ate ensonga za kuyimbira ku live band ngate abawanguzi bakwewangulya ebirabo eby'enjawulo okuli obukadde bw'ensimbi 5 pikipiki kapyata okuliko diminimba mu audio ne video n'ebirabo ebirala bingi okwetaba mu Raise Your Mic genda ku simu yo nyiga *2M7 *007# olondeko option ya Raise Your Mic olondeko option ya participate osindike message buterevu ojja kuba weetabe mu auditions wano ku BTM TV abaana babayiseemu ku mutendera oguddako bakulondebwa abalabi bafe aba BTM era beewangulira ebirabo biwugiddwa Simba Automotives ne bikutuusibwako BTM TV.
Discover your voice at Womcat School of Journalism and Mass Communication. We are now accepting applications for our August intake. Join us to gain hands-on experience from industry experts and build a career in media through our dynamic diploma, certificate, and short courses. Acquire cutting-edge journalism skills on over 28 years of training future industry leaders. Start your journey with us today. UMCAT, where professionalism meets development.
Thank you so much for staying with us. You're still watching The Dialogue with me, Derisa Mwonge. I'm not alone in the studios, but rather with my friend here, Otim Leviakona-Pesa. He's a political analyst, and he's sharing things the way he sees them. He's being objective, really. Last weekend, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni made 80 years of age. And meaning, in the coming election, he'll be 81, close to 82. And he has not told you that he's not going to contest again for the presidency, especially now that Moses Kainerugaba, the CDF, who some people termed as the standby generator, has come out and made it categorically clear that he's not going to be on the ballot. He's not going to contest for the presidency come 2026. This erases all the doubts that were surrounding the fact that President Museveni is going to appear on the ballot once again. Because those were saying that he's planning to quit so that he can pave way for the son. But now the son is telling you that God has told him to stay. I mean, to focus on his army. Meaning that President Museveni is going to come. Question that we are asking is, beyond 80 years, what kind of leader are we going to be having in President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni? Team Leviakona-Pesa, take it up.
Thank you. You see, issues of leadership, normally I don't really emphasize on age, because most people say, and of course you see, our African forefathers always say that wisdom comes with age. And of course you anticipate that the president that we have currently being 80 years should be able to to steer the country and also pose rather a stable leadership in how he has been handling affairs. Of course, you see there have also been some technicalities or rather shortfalls in how he has handled his own people, and more so considering the fact that we are talking about corruption, which has really eaten up part of his government. And when you have to do, it is also one thing to show that the kind of people that he has worked with for a number of years possibly have reached a point where they feel is a long stay in power has also benefited them indirectly. Of course, most of them are benefited economically, if you have to do your own assessment. And of course, you see, when you are when you're at the same table with people that have turned from being strangers to being part of your family, there's always that empathy you have on them. In case they are involved in any corruption scandals, you literally can't fault them, or rather you have a lenience on how you handle them. The president number of times has come out to rebuke on issues of corruption, but also on the other side, the same people that are involved with corruption, you find out that he has a lenience on how he handles, or rather the penalties. If you are even to see the son himself at one point again tweeted about to his friend that was implicated in the scandal of compensation, I think compensation saga of 160 something billion. But I think when the son made one or two remarks about or other issues about that, it was very quick to we saw what happened. So rather, I think also the other problem is that when someone has that long stay in government, they tend to fail to understand the type of people they're dealing with. And of course, you understand Uganda right now, we're in rather almost third generation or something since the president's leadership. He should be going for the 7th term. Now, the bracket of people that he is leading, 50% of them are below the age of 17 years. What do you think is their understanding? Most of them don't know what happened in the early 2000s, in the 90s. None of them knows that. They only hear that as stories, and they feel amused when you talk to them about that.
Amused?
Yes. They're like, but
they're not amused.
Did this really happen? Did this really happen? How did it even happen in the first place? Some of them don't know. So that is the bracket of people that you are dealing with. And I think by 2026, going to 2031, these teenagers will now be young adults, or young men and young women, who now have a say. See what is happening in our neighbors here. They call themselves the Gen Z. The Gen Z has a very strong impact on social media. And that is what is happening even in Uganda here. At times when you see it tries to bring up this policy and so on, and they refute it.
We have these youth who have, exhibited patriotism for their country. And you saw them the other day when they came out to join the president in the fight against corruption. This is a man who is like, I don't need your help, because he got most of them and threw them in Luzira. Okay? So you just mentioned that, of course, these are statistics that were given, preliminary statistics from the UBOS. Whether it showed that over 50%, close to 60, even more than that, are below. They are young.
Actually, we count below 35.
Yes,
I think almost 70%.
President Museveni, these are the people that is leading. They are totally not connected at all.
No.
When you say that he comes on TV, these stories he's telling that they're amused. I don't think the youth are amused. As a matter of fact, they are bored, because
of course, you see,
this is a president who this is the president who will never come at any one time to address the nation, and he does not tell you stories of how he was fighting Idi Amin in the 1970s. He's going to take you back and tell you how he's been here for the last 60 years, fighting. And now, I'm looking at this 20-year-old or 18-year-old looking at this old man narrating those stories. I don't think he's amused. He's like, this man here.
Of course, you see, there was a scenario where he came out and then he was trying to address the public. And I think was also referring to the young ones as his grand, the Vazikulo. And openly, one or two very bold young ladies there openly told him off that, you see, you're not our grandfather. And so on and so on. But that is the type of mindset that we're talking about.
Because they feel he's trying to own the country. He's trying to own and even the people. Because when you start speaking like that, and actually, I know where the lady was coming from. She was like, come on, I grew up with my grandfather never treated me that way. You cannot clobber your Bazukulu.
That's true.
Grandparents are always
Grandparents are always very, objective, and they pull the Bazukulu so close. Yes. But then that gives you the impression that the type of leadership that we have in the country today, one is that I think also when you have a leader that has overstayed in power, there's a way they tend to handle matters, and mostly in the political reforms and then restructuring. You can see what is happening right now. Changing the presidential, elections back to parliamentary setting, where MPs, or the ones that with the majority party, uphold in parliament, are the ones that elect the president. That, of course, is going to kill how Uganda has been, possibly the democracy, or rather the democratic, rights of the citizens. So, for you to come out and then formulate these policies, and then we also don't know what is happening. Of course, you see, the country is developing, but it is at a slow rate. It's developing, but at a slow rate. Infrastructure, settings up country. I can see there is accessibility mostly, but there are also some areas that are hard to reach. The electrification, now we are seeing that, I think after 20 years or something, is when we have seen the West Nile being connected to the national grid. But of course, you see, those that are off the grid, possibly the percentage stands at something, percent. 19% are down to the national grid. Because the cost of connecting power to your own home are also high, and most people can't afford in the villages. So you ask someone that, you see, all of this area, but you people don't have power. He says, but how do we connect power? Because it's expensive to pull power from the other point here. They say we should buy this and this and this. So certain things are not favorable. And of course, everyone believes that when there's rotational leadership, then possibly you pose that the rates of development within a certain nation also increase drastically to favor, the populace, because everybody comes with new ideas and everybody comes with new, social impact and settings. So whatever that we are living on right now, you should be able to know that it's going to be recycled. Tomorrow, even when you see the president come to address, everybody has mastered how he talks these days. When it's coming,
you're right.
When it's coming
you
to
could
address,
predict like
yes,
35% of his speech.
35% of the speech is very predictable.
We start by taking you back to history.
History,
Where
that
it
one,
began.
but that one you have to mark. The history part is going to be there. He has to take you back to history, and then he's going to sing about what has...
Filled with self-praise.
Yes.
Actually, Mr. Tim, now, thank you for raising that. I think at this stage in time, President Museveni shouldn't be wasting much time, explain to us what he has done. Things should be just visible.
It should be results show.
Yes, because you've been here for long, and you don't have to explain to us. Even that ideology that you came with, right now shouldn't still be in the papers, but rather should be visible everywhere.
I believe, you see, one thing people have failed to understand.
In terms of infrastructure development and what?
One thing that people have failed to understand is that the young people don't know the impact they have when it comes to, leadership and governance in their country. And the fact that we have the 3 M's, I always talk about them whenever we meet with people. The 3 M's, that is media, and then the money, and then the military. The old man has held grip in the 3 M's. He has the money, he has the media to himself, he knows how to manipulate the media, and he just mastered it, by the way. And then the military. So if you have any of the two M's, then you can be able to handle anybody and even stay as much as you want in any setting. The only thing is that keep the populace poor.
Who says?
That is the ideology. That's the logical,
African leaders.
Yes.
It's very hard to govern the rich.
Keep the, the population poor.
But look at NRM.
Are you able? No, tell me something.
Look at NRM. They have
you
the
see how
economic transformations. It's meant to, alleviate poverty. You're talking about most of the programs possibly that we have. We have the Myogas, we have the PDM and so on. So with the government that has such initiatives in place, really, it's unfair to think that to say that you.
But also
they want to impoverish the people.
No, it's also very bad for us to have a president that doesn't know that when you do a mindset change on your populace, then possibly you are going to impact on the whole communities that are within your your reach or within your jurisdiction as a leader. One, there's lots of money that is invested in mindset change, an ideology or ideological concept. And what do? You only pick a handful of people and take them to Chankwanzi. I've seen them take the professionals to Chankwanzi. The nurses went there. URA was also taken to Chankwanzi. What do you keep teaching these people? Is it on policy restructuring? Is it on patriotism? What are you teaching these people? Are there experts that come and teach these people on what they should be able to do? Or it is just a random thing that when you have to go there, you have to speak, and rather you're on the praise and worship thing. You see what I'm talking about? So, mindset change. Go to the communities down there. I've been to Omoro. I have been to the areas of Lira. I was there with my friend, one of the LOC3s of Abok, sub-county. I think that should be, or Yam or something. And when you have to interact with the people, they even say that some of this money is a PDM, a Myoga, what. The government has also brought for us this money to eat.
Seriously?
Yes.
And no wonder they get arrested.
Why do you reach a certain community and then you find the men are drinking from 7 a.m. up to midnight? There's no productive. There's no productive activity.
The PDM
most of them get that money and they're enjoying and eating that money. And you see that you even move chunks and chunks of land and there's no activity going on.
But when you speak like that, and those people continue actually to be poor, now I think the blame goes back to them. No, but the government has done what it's supposed to do.
You see, one thing about government, of course, you see, there's that aspect that government can't, literally, but what policies are there to help the people? We have copied most of these models that were used by Singapore, and by the way, let me tell you the truth, in the early 80s and so on, that president, the late of Singapore, the one that...
Lee Kuan Yew.
Yeah, Lee Kuan Yew, the one that, elevated and then, built the Singapore economy into something that's super
Well, they said Uganda actually was at the same level with Singapore.
Yes, but he came to Uganda and did a benchmarking here. He borrowed most of the policies that we have as a country.
Who was... the leader of Uganda back then?
Yes, but even he said that, you see...
Who was the leader of Uganda at that time?
You very well know. It was I can't mention, but he was the one who was the leader by then. The president himself. So when he went the other side, he built his economy using what we had formulated as our policies here, and plus our programs. And the man succeeded. What is so difficult without succeeding? We have borrowed most of this using the case studies of China, using the model of PDM, rather give money to the communities, and the communities put it into productive use, Myoga, and you're seeing how China has been able to industrialize most of its cities. It's nothing that is so difficult, but it's just the mindset of the leaders. The leaders should be able to project this to the communities where they're serving. And everybody, you see, if you want people,
we have leaders who do.
No, if you want to change people, if you want to change people,
what did they learn from that?
No, if you want to change people, let the people see you take action in trying to do some of these things, and you'll change the people.
Why do you want to blame the people in this case? Now you just mentioned industrialization. We have these leaders. Look at the president himself. He's been here for long. There are some countries of the world that at one point in time, Uganda was more developed than them, under the leadership of President Museveni. But those countries have now surpassed us in terms of development. I've read about those countries of the world, countries like Malaysia, Singapore, that's in Asia. Even Africa here. They have now surpassed us in terms of development. Where we still have the same leader. Stop blaming the populace.
I'll not blame, no, I'll not blame, you see, I'm not blaming the populace, but rather you should be able to get my objectivity in what I'm trying to tell you. One is that for the populace to move, there should be proper streamlined, leadership that should be able to steer and then post-development. And how do you post-development? Some of these are supposed to be restructured. You can't be in leadership positions and all you think about is cutting deals and commissions. As a country right now, what do we have to even indicate that it belongs to us? Apart from a few, entities or other assets that have been relinquished back to us. And I think one or two things. But most of these money harvest, hubs for some of these political leaders. Nothing shows that the country rather also owns something that brings money to it. But it's more about how we should be able to tax people to pull more resources from them. Now, the lifestyle and the standards of living in Uganda are increasing. Most people can't even afford housing, can't even afford accommodation, just mere accommodation. And anyone who's working is only working to be able to sustain themselves and then pay bills. But most people don't have anything that puts back in the pocket. Even the people who are in Chikubo here will tell you.
And that's why the NRM government has now embarked on what
Yes, embarking on
what they have
taxation
termed
policy.
as the money economy. In other words, they want to bring everybody into the money economy where everybody should have some money in their pockets.
But how is that possible? If one is that you
PDM
don't even
is
have
here.
anything. The
Well, they're giving each
what
one
about the
millions.
PDM? By the PDM, you're going to give me $1 million shilling, and you want me to do an activity. And by the way, that PDM is only favoring the 35% people who cannot even raise up to, $1 per day.
And that's what it's meant. That's
What
it
it
is
meant to
targeting.
do. Yes. And then the Myogas. A Myoga, you have to borrow money as a group setting, as a circle. What are you doing as a circle? So, which means that on a daily, you also have to continue saving, but you can borrow from the circle and then pay back to the circle. I see.
Yeah.
The circle also has to pay back to government. So how are you empowering the people? We have a lot of resources in this country. First of all, you need to look at the energy sector. And energy sector is twice or thrice. That is the mineral is different from the energy and clean energy. And of course, you see, if you embarked on a proper distribution of power to all these communities, even including the Karamoja, first of all, you're going to employ a lot of people. You'll be having people that do fabrication. You'll be having people that want to use power rather to run, productivity. But even that right now is not stable. We're having a lot of flank in the power distribution right now. And I don't know whether is it because possibly Umeme is supposed to hand over back to government because I think their contract is about to get over. To get done. And then the other thing.
You refuse to renew their contract.
Food production.
We still don't know why.
Agriculture. In order for you to be able to do, agriculture, commercial agriculture, the president has been advocating for, you should be able to have capital. You can't just wake up one morning because you have land in the village and say that now let me be a commercial farmer and let me get seedling and then put there. You should be having the money.
Commercialization of agriculture.
Commercialization
We are
of
talking
agriculture.
about the president who the other day was teaching people in irrigating with bottles of water. That's primitive irrigation.
Yeah,
Such a person, is he really encouraging commercial agriculture?
No, that is very bad. Because you see, as a leader right now, Uganda has reached, a capacity. You see, Egypt, just a country that is using this very power, this very water that we have here.
River Nile.
Yeah, River Nile, to do a lot of irrigation in most of those, farms.
And for us, our president is teaching us how to irrigate.
Just
with
only
bottles.
buy a water pump system and connect this. And then you can even use your bottles if you want. Put holes around your bottles, connect the pipes, and distribute water to if you cannot buy those nozzles. You can distribute, but now every day you want me to use a bottle, and that is something that possibly, unless you're doing subsidized farming or subsistence farming, this one that you have possibly a small farm of tomatoes or something.
And it's not even asking himself question that
yes.
do all areas in Uganda really have that water? Where are these people going to be getting the water from?
It's difficult because you see,
The one that they're going to put in the bottles. Because you should be encouraging them to work hard or come up with ideas on how they can acquire machines that can pump water from the underground.
yes.
But you're asking them to use bottles, as if all areas do have water that is available.
That is very, because you see, I'm using this as an example because one, I have a friend of mine who is in Kumi, he's based in Kumi district. And they have a large chunk of land as a family. I think you're talking about 50 to 100 acres. And they have refused to fragment the land. You know, fragmenting means you divide it, this belongs to you and so on. They want to use it so. We wanted to do commercial farming. We wanted to do mass production of avocado. And also with the projection that we can have a small-scale factory that is able to do byproducts. There's avocado oil or something, and then the byproducts for export and then domestic, consumption. But now, what has failed him as a person, and he has even approached Ministry of Agriculture several times, written to them and so on, for just government to aid and then give him, assistance with the irrigation scheme. Because the farm the land is too big. And I think when he calculated, it was some good amount of millions to put up an irrigation scheme in that farm for the avocado and so on. Now, you see, these small hindrances are the ones that are causing problem. But otherwise, we would be having people that can be model farmers and we also use them to do case studies. You go to them, learn, and then you can easily copy the model. So you will not be able to rely possibly on small things that are able to only sustain you as a family, possibly like cassava and potatoes and so on. These are small things. Now people are going for bigger things. Coffee. Coffee is doing very well in Brazil. The economy of Ethiopia has been doing quite well, and the revenue generated from coffee. It runs their country. In the 70s, 80s, 60s, I think the time when Jomo Kenyatta, Kenyans used to come and buy coffee from Uganda and then go and repackage it and sell it there. Take it, make it, a finished product and sell it back to Ugandans. Ours was only to sell the what? The raw material. So if government restructured some of these things, because we have tested all this. We even have coffee, Robusta. Robusta coffee, we have it in Teso. We have some farmers that are doing, their coffees are doing very well in Teso. But there's been that mind's impression from some of them that coffee cannot even grow very well in areas of Teso.
Dry areas.
But that's Arabica, which needs the very cold humidity.
But can coffee really thrive in Teso?
Yes.
Because most of Teso...
We have farmers in Serere. We have farmers in some districts that are growing Robusta coffee, and it's doing very well. I went with one of the South Korean investors. He's a PhD holder. And he united the community in Koboko district under Kato Agroscience. And he had the model nursery bed setup. He had guavas, he had matoke, he had coffee seedlings, Arabica coffee. He crafted our coffee together with the South African, variety, and formed a very good one here. A short tree, but is able to pull up to 15 and 20 kilograms. That's a stem like this. He showed us. There's a demonstration. He even grinded the coffee that came out of that Koboko garden.
A hybrid.
Very well. Yes.
A hybrid.
It was 15 families coming together, and the land was 1,200. He invested his own money, nearly to a tune of 600 million, to help those communities.
Did he get assistance from the government?
Bluegrass that he imported.
Did he get assistance from the government?
No, I'm coming there. Assistance, bluegrass that he imported from South Africa for our animal feed. Possibly it was also to yield, so that the cows and then the goats can yield the, good milk, and then also fatten our bulls and so on. It was very good, initiative. He built his own water system and connected to the farm. But All this was squashed by the Koboko district and the government.
What did they do?
When we invited the LOC 5, by then, I think it was 2017, the LOC 5
How
came.
did the Koboko district administration frustrate him?
Of course, most of them wanted kickbacks in order to implement and then, accept the man's initiative. When the president came, the president even reached the farm. But also, there was also some frustration on the man reaching the president and then suggesting possibly we can have this model in every region, benefiting families, just like how South Korea and Vietnam is doing, its affairs. Since Uganda is purely an agricultural-based, country, this is what we can copy, and you find that the economy is going to improve. But there was frustration.
Let's first take another short break, Mr. Tim Levy.
Yes.
So, dear viewers, we're taking another short break. Don't go away because the dialogue continues shortly. Be right back. Oh, man.
Discover delicacy at Cafe 2, your all-in-one destination. Whether it's the perfect cup of coffee or a satisfying meal, we got you covered. Indulge your cravings with our mouth-watering pilau, savory katogo, crispy chips, and tender chicken. Explore our world of cocktails and fresh juices for a truly special treat. Planning an event? Choose Cafe 2 for top-notch outside catering services. Benefit from ample parking. Stay connected with Wi-Fi and catch your favorite matches on DSTV. Cafe 2 offers food deliveries in and around Kampala. Hosting a conference, our center accommodates up to 1,000 people. Need a boardroom for a party or corporate meeting? We've got just the spot for you. We offer a free venue for birthdays and baby showers, providing complimentary photography. For those aspiring to become professional baristas, our barista school awaits you. Visit us at Albany Center, Level 2 on Ginger Road. Cafe 2, where every occasion becomes a memorable experience.